It is episode 6 and Tayshia's second week as Bachelorette, and we have all your recap needs starting now. I'm sorry, my dog farted. Remember 2 weeks ago how I said every episode preview starts with Claire and Dale? Well, we see Claire and Dale again, getting engaged. Will it be the last week that we have to relive that? Probably not. Anyway, today we start with dates. Because remember, there was no rose ceremony last week, so we're picking up from the one-on-one with Brendan. And we just get right into the second group date. There might have been a date card, I don't remember, but Tayshia's not sure what this date is, but luckily she brought 2 friends. And as Tayshia and the guys walk into the room, there's a faceless mannequin suspensefully introducing us to the Grown Man Challenge. And the lights turn on and out walk Tayshia's 2 friends, which are Ashley and Jared Heiban, but they're here because they're going to be crowning one of the men a grown ASS man. I can't say bad words on here, but Tayshia wants a grown ASS man. See, if you say it fast enough, it's almost like I actually said it, ASS man. Anyway, so the men are going to be put through a series of grown ASS men tests. And the first test is for smart, so math and spelling, obviously. And Bennett, the Harvard man, Ivy League man, is feeling very confident here. And for all the questions, the guys have to display their answers on like a mini dry erase board, which I used to have to do in Spanish class, just in case you're wondering. And the first question is it's a math question. Something about like if you leave at this time and you show up at Tayshia at this time, how long did it take you to walk there or something? But anyway, Bennett gets it wrong. Then question 2 comes and he gets that one wrong. And he blames it on the wording of the question. Pretty sure it was very straightforward. That's how you know you're too smart. If you start looking into really, really simple things and make them much more complicated than they have to be, you're too smart. Then they have to spell limousine, which is pretty easy, but Bennett gets it wrong. So I'm sort of starting to feel like this is a setup maybe, but also a little bit concerned for Bennett. Then we move on to our next challenge, which is a strength challenge. And here the guys have to grab a bouquet. They're on opposite ends grabbing a bouquet with some tug-of-war resistance band thing connecting them together. So they're like running in opposite directions trying to grab the bouquet. It's not easy to describe. And Ed failed miserably here. I forget who he was up against. I think it was Ben, but he pretty much just flew backwards like a rag doll. It's like, oh, I should have said he flailed miserably. And apparently Bennett has some old football injury that is causing him to not be able to participate in this challenge. It's not looking good for Bennett. Then our final competition is the breakfast in bed challenge. So basically the guys are cooking breakfast and bringing it to Tayshia, who's laying in a bed. Nothing super special. They're all cooking breakfast, whatever. What stood out to me the most, Ed. Ed decided to do a push-up with Tayshia on his back for the bed and breakfast challenge. Clearly had nothing to do with breakfast, nothing to do with food, but it was 100% his attempt at redemption from the tug-of-war. Now it's Chasen's turn to serve Tayshia, and people are seemingly mad at him because he gets into bed with Tayshia or something. Didn't seem super evil, but they're definitely setting up Chasen as a villain right now, and we will find out why in a little bit. So the competition ends, and they have to crown one grown ASS man and one man-child. Male child award goes to Ed. And who gets the grown ASS man? Bennett. How they came to that conclusion, it makes no sense. Can't do math, can't spell, unsure if he has any strength or athletic ability, but he can climb into bed with some food. So now we get to the cocktail party, and Bennett is still wearing his robe from the bed and breakfast challenge, and Chasen thinks it's cringy and not something a grown ASS man would do. Tayshia didn't seem to think it was funny. She didn't seem to think it was cute. It was kind of just nothing to her. But Tayshia wasn't wearing a robe. She was wearing a beautiful white little mini dress. Actually, not white. It was cream. Yes, still enjoying her wardrobe. And as soon as she walks in to greet the guys, Bennett is like, hey, I'm going to steal you for a minute, if that's okay. But she says, oh, wait, can I just like say hi to everybody first? You know? So she does. She says hi. And then Chasen takes her. Immediately, ASAP. Bennett doesn't even get to slide in. Warning number 2 for Chasen as the villain. So Chasen and Tayshia are talking, and he's apparently never been in love. Could also be kind of a problem. Like maybe he just likes ladies from all angles. To me, this conversation felt a lot like word vomit. Chasen was just me all the time, and then wrapped it up with, and I just want to get to know you, Tayshia. And before everything that happens later on in the episode, this instant right here, I'm thinking, I don't think I really like Chasen, and he kind of creeps me out. Then she talks with Ben, and I think I like Ben. I don't love when people state or ask if they can kiss the person that they're with, and he did that, but I'm going to let it slide on this one. Just, I'm getting good vibes from him so far. And also, Ivan and Tayshia seem to be connecting. And Ivan's another one that I like. And during their conversation, to prove he's a grown man, he blindfolds her and feeds her strawberries. Now, is it the blindfold that makes you mature, or is it the feeding of the strawberries? Now, meanwhile, over at the guy group, Ed, Chasen, and Bennett are going at it vocally. Some things were said about how they essentially don't like each other. I think I heard Dale in there. And also something about how Chasen said the same things to Claire as he's doing to Tayshia. So feels like an attack on Chasen. And Chasen's rebuttal is that Ed is holding a baby and has chicken legs. Ed's holding a baby because crowned man-child, you get a doll. But regardless, Chasen is now officially not on my good list. If you're in an argument and your only ammo is somebody's physical appearance, then you've got no juice. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. And I say we get rid of Chasen, drop the CH, put on the J, and bring back Jason. One other thing, does anybody else feel like Ed has the same exact smile as Desiree? Bachelorette Desiree. I know I'm comparing a male to a female, so it's like not the same, but just put all that aside and just look at their mouths. I'm telling you. So after that little bickering, Ed goes to Tayshia, and he's that guy this season, the guy who has to tell Tayshia that somebody's not here for the right reasons. Always a bad guy, and there's always a tattletale. So now Tayshia has to pull Chasen. And she's handling all this really well, I think. She's like, hey, I heard some things I didn't like. I don't like that I'm hearing that you're using this opportunity as leverage for your career. And his response is, no, Tayshia, look at me dead in the eyes. Yeah, that's the problem. You are dead in the eyes. When somebody's feeling somebody, there's a sparkle in your eyes. You don't have it. These leading people, Bachelor, Bachelorette, whoever it is, they must know by now that this is just a big project for the producers. It's like the Hunger Games. Like, ooh, let's throw one of these guys in there for drama. And oh, this one has a girlfriend. Let's put that in there and see how Tayshia handles that. Solve the case, Tayshia. Now, after that, we've got more drama, of course, with Ed and Chasen. Ed tells Chasen to sit down with your medium shirt. And Chasen says, oh, actually, it's a large. These two. Chicken legs. Poorly sized clothing, foundation of a true argument. So after all the craziness, the rose goes to Ivan. And I'm feeling good about this one, but you know who I want to see more? Joe. I feel like Joe could be some good comedic relief for us in this season. Behind the scenes, Ben is sad that he didn't get the rose, like legitimately sad. But like, Ben, you're gonna get one, so stop it. Now it's cocktail party rose ceremony time. Ed is still carrying his baby. And you know what else? Ed and Chasen are still arguing. There's not even anything new to add to this except Bennett tries to grab the baby. He does grab the baby to save it from the nonsense because even a fake human shouldn't have to deal with this insanity. Then here is where Chasen calls Tayshia a smoke show. Bennett says, what woman wants to be called a smoke show? And I still feel like, yes, I think I would like it. Maybe wouldn't like it from Chasen though because his intentions are faulty. Now Tayshia comes out and she's in that black and gold dress. Yep. And she has lots of talks with the guys, and she kisses almost all of them. Remember Ari, the kissing bandit? I think Tayshia is the kissing bandita. There's a lot going on right now. I don't know what it is. But after a bunch of nice talks, Ed and Chasen are still causing drama, and now Tayshia has to address it again. I know I complain about the drama, but I love it. What would I talk about if it wasn't here? So she pulls Chasen for a second time post Ed talk. Ted talk. Ed talk. Sorry. And Chasen is wearing high pants and no socks. I think that, am I not with the fashion times? Anyway, Tayshia confronts him for getting into Ed's face, getting physical, and just overall not handling this situation very well. She tells him it's petty, and basically it's gotta end. So after that talk, Chasen's like, oh crap, she might get rid of me. And so after that, now he decides to own it. So he pulls that aside and is like, hey, you know, I got overly aggressive and I might have stirred the pot, so let's call a truce, because it wasn't my intention. So it never says sorry. It doesn't really go over well with Ed, but nothing bad happens. Now we get to rose ceremony number 1, Tayshia's very first rose ceremony. And after all that, I'm wondering who is production going to make Tayshia keep? And my guess is Chasen. She's not going to pick Ed in the long run. I think everybody knows she's not going to pick Ed. But we've got 19 guys here still. We are in, what, week 6? And we've got 19 guys. So she's got to shrink this down quite a bit. Now, all the people you would expect to get a rose, get a rose. And she's down to her last 2 roses. And one of them goes to Ed. So who's the second one going to? The final rose? It's Chasen. So I guess production tells Tayshia she's got to keep them both. It's like the story is getting old. I feel like they need to switch things up a little bit because we always know they're going to pick whoever we don't want them to pick. Stir it up a little bit and have her pick someone else. 3 genuine, lovely men get sent home. And Tayshia claims it's because she didn't have romantic feelings for these guys. Apparently she does for 16 other men. I don't know if she knows this, but you can only pick one. So now midway through the show, we're technically into week 2 or 3 of Tayshia. Round 2, I should say. And we get our next group date. Oh, and guess what? Ed and Chasen are on it. The date card says, I'm looking for my perfect match. And some of the guys are like, oh, it must be wrestling. And then other guys are like, oh, I think it's puzzles, but it's wrestling. And Tayshia's in there like fake wrestling with the hosts of the date. You know, they always put on like this mini show that the Bachelorette has to do as the guys walk in. It's really lame, but I like the way that Tayshia owned it. She was like laughing throughout it. Just go along with these weird Bachelorette things they make me do. And for this date, we've got 2 professionals here. We got a WWE, WWF something, and UFC. So one of them is legit and the other one is half legit. And now to prepare for this date, the guys have to start smack talking each other. This might have been my favorite part. The pro athletes, the college athletes, they're doing a pretty good job. They've had practice. But then we get Spencer and Joe, and they're just like bumping chests and saying like, you're like a really nice guy, man. Oh, and Joe plays volleyball, so he's just went up a lot of notches on my list. Might be my new favorite. But now it's go time, and behind the scenes, Chasen is making threats to Ed. Not to his face, but, just in a private interview. Get ready, Ed. You're not going to wake up tomorrow, and your mama's going to be waiting to pick you up. Well, which one is it? Does he wake up or not? Anyway, again, we've got a live audience, and again, it's just the guys that are not on the date. But Tayshia's getting all the guys prepared by oiling them with a paintbrush. We've got our first match, which is Easy versus Joe. And Easy wins kind of effortlessly. That's because Joe is a lover, not a fighter, and he was, quote, scared. I am definitely a Joe fan. And second is Jordan versus Brendan. Brendan wins. And then we have Spencer versus Ben. And this was a pretty even match. They kind of looked like, guys getting back from the military who haven't seen each other in 10 years. Like a lot of hugging, rolling on the floor with excitement. And nobody ends up winning this one. It's actually a draw. And Ben is bleeding. Now it's Chasen versus Ed. It's what all of us have been waiting for. But Ed goes to find Chris, who is the dad, obviously, and says he doesn't want to do the fight because his shoulders might dislocate. Or you know what, Ed? You could be a grown ASS man and just admit that you're scared like Joe did. So he forfeits. And Chasen has no one to face. So an audience member has to take Ed's place, and it's Noah. Noah with a mustache. And they're wrestling, but Noah's in jeans. And it almost seems like it's kind of an even match, I thought. They ultimately give it to Chasen, but if Noah didn't have the jeans on, I say he wins. But then for some reason, Chasen is like the champion of the entire thing. But why not any of the guys that like TKO'd their opponents? Why Chasen? This is rigged. But now Tayshia invites Noah to the date because she's so happy he jumped a fence for her. She's been waiting for this. She needed someone to do that for her because Colton wouldn't. And the guys are not happy that Noah is joining. And guess what? Cocktail party time, Noah steals her first. So we're just rubbing a little salt into those wounds. And you know what else? There's been no Spencer drama today. Just Ed, Chasen, and now Noah. Tayshia asks Noah to shave his mustache. Kind of one of the first things she says while they're sitting there one-on-one. And this is pretty much all that we need to know from this cocktail party because it's took up the whole time. She does talk to everybody and it's very drama-free, but Noah comes back. Everybody wondered what had happened to him because he kind of disappeared after his talk, but he was just going to get his razor. And he and his razor come back and they butt into Tayshia's conversation with Jordan. Jordan, not happy. But now Tayshia is shaving Noah's mustache. She just shaves the whole thing right off. And wow, does he look different without a mustache. I would say he looks much better, but also looks a little bit more like a little boy. But Tayshia clearly likes it. And if you ask me, she is wearing the pants of this relationship. I think you should shave your mustache. Actually, I'm going to shave it for you. Oh, much better. Keep it. But Noah's the last one that she sees. And poor Ben, because Ben has been strategically waiting the whole night because he wants to pull her aside last and they can just relax and have a little nightcap and probably, she'll leave thinking about Ben. But he waited too long, and Tayshia's ready to end the night. She grabs the rose, and Ben tries to stop her, but she's like, hey, I wanted you to come find me earlier. And he didn't. Ben's regrets. And ultimately, Mustacheless Noah gets the rose. More salt in the wounds. Then it's right into the previews for next week. Unfortunately, it's more Noah drama. It's really all there is to say. Tayshia looks like she addresses it a little bit, and that's it. And sorry, that was really boring anticipation for next week. I think that's an oxymoron, boring anticipation. Anyway, thanks for watching another episode recap with me, and I'll see you guys next week.